And I understand you may have some land for sale. And there was this pause on the end of the phone for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, which is like a long time on the phone. And then a voice came on and said, kind of shakily, he said, "I can't believe you're calling me." And I said, "Well, tell me more. What's up?"
Right.
He said, "I'm in the third hour of a 3-hour prayer session, praying specifically about our land situation and Spring Lake Church by name."
Well, hello, everyone, and we're glad you're with us. We are going to give a little bit of an update this morning on some really exciting news that we let be known this weekend at Spring Lake in regard to some property. Now, I want to remind you that the 15th is coming up. It's kind of one of our mile markers in the capital campaign. We'll be giving you an update on that this weekend. We're excited to see where things are headed with the gym, if you've been to the Bellevue campus. But on top of all of that right now, kind of the lead story is the property opportunity that we have in front of us. I've got with me Mitch Eastman. How's it going, Mitch?
Good.
Good. And we want to let people know today kind of the exciting backstory that got where we are. You all heard the announcement this weekend, but there's so much that led up to it that we don't have time to say on a weekend. So we want to let you know what's going on. Mitch, can you kind of walk us through we knew we were going to look for property and then how this kind of came to us?
Yeah, so the hunt for the new property, right? Mm-hmm. So with our pledging campaign being current, we weren't sure exactly how this would turn out. So we are actually pursuing multiple options. One option would be for us to find an existing building and have that building built out like we did downtown. Mm-hmm. One option was to actually find land and have an outside developer develop the land for us and then us rent from them.
Right.
The third option was to actually have the church be the purchaser of the land and developer, which also is an option.
Right.
But all three were like being pursued at the same time, waiting for the funds to come in and see where we were clearly. In that process, we had a number of options came up about, hey, my uncle's got land, I've got a neighbor's got land, I've got this guy that's got land. And so we got a number of emails and leads, but there was one lead that came in via email from someone about a month ago.
Okay.
And at first I didn't respond immediately, but was in a meeting on a Thursday morning as I remember it. And I thought, you know what, there's that email. It caught my attention because it involved a local church. A local church had bought some property and maybe we were looking to sell. So I thought, I just felt the need to want to follow up on that particular lead. So I went in the office and Kristen was with us. And I said, Kristen, do you have that email that showed like that one email that said we had a church that had property? And she said, yeah, it's right here. In fact, Kristen, being as efficient as she was, said, here's the email. And the email was in a binder she had already put together, and pastor's name was right there and the phone number. I said, Kristen, do you mind if I actually call this person like right now live? She goes, no, go ahead. So I did. And dialed the number up, and gentleman answered the phone. Mm-hmm. And I said, excuse me, my name is Mitch Eastman from Spring Lake Church. And I understand you may have some land for sale. And there was this pause on the end of the phone for maybe 10 to 15 seconds, which was like a long time on the phone. And then a voice came on and said, kind of shakily, he said, "I can't believe you're calling me." And I said, well, tell me more. What's up?
Right.
And he said, I'm in the third hour of a 3-hour prayer session, praying specifically about our land situation and Spring Lake Church by name.
Wow.
I was trying to figure out who I could talk to and call from Spring Lake Church because I heard you guys are looking for land. So when you called and said, hi, I'm Mitch from Spring Lake Church, and you got land for sale, I started shaking. I couldn't believe
awesome.
it. Yeah. So I said, well, that's very moving. Tell me more. And he mentioned that they had received an offer from the town of Lawrence for the property.
Right.
And they're about to vote on that as a congregation that Sunday, like 3 days later. And I said, hey, I am really happy for you, but just the way churches work, there's just no way we could possibly get some kind of a response for them by Sunday.
Right.
So happy for you, but I'm sorry we got to you too late. He said, well, hang on a second. He goes, there's the way the story goes, there was an attender at their church who had offered property to them years ago, and they worked out a deal where they sold 30 acres to the church for a future campus at a reduced cost, and we're excited about that possibility. Now, things have changed. They wanted to actually expand their base campus instead. And so, but this attender felt like the purpose of that land back then was actually for a church. Yep. And all he wanted to support whatever leadership was going to do. He felt like it really was for a church. And leadership was like working with this tension, like, yeah, it's okay, but they felt it was meant for a church. And so this call was like, in their minds, perfect timing.
And it's how perfect for us because it's also right in that epicenter area where we were looking for the search before we even knew this existed.
Exactly. Like in the heart of that corridor. And he said that, look at, how long would you need to like get an answer? And I said, look, we're not asking you to like stop your plans. Right. But if you would, if you give us 30 days, that would be sufficient. And so he said, give me a couple hours, and I'll get back to you. I'll talk to leadership and see if that's possible. And then he led us through prayer on the topic, and we hung up.
That's awesome.
Then that evening, he called back and said, leadership voted unanimously to give Spring Lake Church this 30-day window. Now, understand that was not like on our radar screen. It was not like we weren't looking for 30 acres in that window, that corridor. So it was all new to us too. Plus, they're looking to close with the Tunnel Lawrence in January. So short time frame and short window for actually getting back to him. So this was not in our plans, but our church responded really quickly. Both the finance committee, realtors that we're using, the elder board,
the contractor involved, got some feedback,
staff leadership, all felt the same, that looking at the facts and what's presented to us, it was like a really good move for us too.
Awesome.
So that's what happened.
That's awesome.
I want to mention too that Kristen was on the phone call. She heard it, and when I got off the phone call, I was like wrapped up in the conversation. I wasn't like paying attention to Kristen really.
Right.
Looked up and Kristen was just bawling her eyes out. Kristen was just caught up emotionally with what she had just witnessed. So, I'm just reporting what happened. It was a very emotional thing.
It's one of those where you see God move, but you don't always recognize it because it's like you're saying, it's in the busyness of everything until you stop and go, what in the world just happened?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. A location of it. Can you give us kind of a sketch? And for those of you watching, there's going to be a link in this YouTube in the description and the YouTube page for how you can find the property if you want to go drive by it, look at it. We're not hiding anything. It's all out there to see.
Yeah, great question. So if you're on 41 in Green Bay going towards Appleton, you'll hit the 41 Shearing exit, which for us was kind of ground zero of our search, saying as you looked at the map of our current attenders where they lived, that was like ground zero. If you keep on going south on 41, about 3 minutes, you'll get to the S as in Sam exit, S in 41. You'll take that exit and come back over the highway onto Lawrence and go on Lawrence north about 3/4 of a mile. It'll be on your left. And it's surrounded by homes now, which are probably, upper middle class homes and nice flat area right on Lawrence. It's pretty impressive.
And not far from West Pier.
No.
So the Freedom, Wrightstown, kind of all in that triangle.
Right in the middle of that corridor.
So it's a great opportunity. And those of you watching, like I said, we'll update all the finance stuff this weekend. We just finished this past 2 weeks of a series kind of on that stewardship and service with this in mind. And we're excited about what the next 3 years can be. We'd ask you please be praying for wisdom. That's a big piece right now. Like Mitch was saying, there's a lot of unity within leadership, within finance teams. There's excitement with people on that west side about this coming in that direction. So please be praying for wisdom for us and discernment on next steps. Thank you for joining with us. We look forward to seeing you this weekend. Hope all of your plans are falling into place for Christmas. Don't forget to go to the website, look at the information for our Christmas Eve services, get registered there, and we will see you this weekend.